ready.
Okay. I'd like to call the meeting of the St. Louis County Board of Zoning Adjustment to order. The board members present today are Janet Herman, Chairman, Angelia Bills, Vice Chairman, and Justin Randall, Member. The BZA Coordinator is Debbie Miller, and Staff Planner is Debbie Sahlberg, and Staff Member is Mel Wilson. First, I offer into the record the affidavit of publication pertaining to today's meeting, March 24th, 2021. The board hereby takes official notice of and admits into evidence on the record the St. Louis County Zoning Ordinance, Chapter 1003, St. Louis County Revised Ordinance 1974 as amended, and Chapter 1004, St. Louis County Revised Ordinance 1974 as amended. Next, I call for a motion to approve the minutes of the previous BZA meeting of March 10th, 2021.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Yep, second.
The hearing procedure is informal, but is a teleconference and is recorded. The planning staff will read each request into the record. The petitioner will be unmuted, state their name, make a brief presentation to the board explaining the reason and hardship for the requested variance. The board will not consider financial hardships. Board members may ask questions to clarify facts. When the board is satisfied with the material presented, the chairperson will then ask if there is anyone in favor or opposition to the request. To indicate you would like to speak, please click the hand next to your name. And if any comments were submitted, staff will read them into the record. Before a call for the vote, the petitioner may request a continuance in order to bring in additional documentation. The board may also request a continuance to gather additional information or for a visit to the site. Once comments have been heard, the chairperson will call for a vote. At that time, the discussion has ended and no further discussion is permitted. The board will generally make a decision today. 2 members of the board must vote in favor of the petition for it to be approved. If a variance is approved, you have 6 months to obtain the necessary permits or establish the use requested, or the variance will expire. The petitioner or any interested party has the right of appeal to the St. Louis County Circuit Court. This must be done within 30 days of the decision. The paperwork indicating the board's decision will be mailed to the petitioners. Okay.
The first petition this evening is 2421 Michael Hecht requests an exception to the side yard regulations for the purpose of installing an 8-foot high fence at 5984 Kerth Road, maintaining a side yard of 3 feet in lieu of 20 feet as required by the non-urban district regulations of the St. Louis County Zoning Ordinance.
Okay, Michael, you are unmuted to give your presentation.
Thank you. Well, good afternoon, and thanks for the opportunity, and thanks to all of you on the committee for your service. Little background, I've lived on this property for over 40 years. It's been in our family since the 30s, and our grandchildren are now 5th generation that have enjoyed this property. So we're very proud of it, and we work very hard at keeping it in good order, as we are with the rest of our adjoining community. So the issue is, again, as you said, is what do we do with this? Why do we need an 8-foot fence, basically, I think is the issue. And if we need an 8-foot fence, why? Well, the whole issue is because our house, where you can see is at the top of this hill, sits up about 15 feet as best as I can judge it from the house next door that you're looking at. So we're basically looking down on this. And if our land were flat, then a 6-foot fence would be fine. But because we sit so high, not only with our house, but with our patios, and fortunately we have a pool, to get some privacy from the next door area is going to take more. And I did not do very well in geometry in high school, but it's pretty obvious to me that you need a higher fence to get the same effect as a 6-foot because of how high our property sits. We actually went down there with a 6-foot tall board and an 8-foot tall board with our contractor to see what the difference would be, and it was fairly dramatic in terms of the amount of privacy we receive between the two. So that's why we're thinking an 8-foot is really important to us. Now, why do we need that closer than 20 foot to the property line? Well, because it's residential property. We're not. I know we're zone not urban, but we're just grateful again because of the family history. They have a lot of property. But we don't want to give up our property. Within that 20-foot section is areas that the grandkids play. There's a swing set. There's a garden area we have for meditation. There's a house that we built for the kids to play house and things like that. So we basically, if we put that fence up, we'd either have to knock that stuff down or not use that part of the property. And I think, like, you know, all of us, we'd like to be able to use the property that we take care of as best we can. Our property is not square. As you can see on the plot plan, it's long, and it's not necessarily narrow, of course, because it's a big piece of property, but it's not square. So again, that 20-foot would be a significant amount that we basically not be able to use for family use. I think the other issue is, if you see that house that you have there, that's the adjoining property that's owned by an organization called the Influence Church right now. And that house used to be one of two houses that were part of this roughly 8-acre piece of property that's now owned by, it's either listed as Church in Action or Influence Church. And until recently, that house and the area around it were basically not used well by the church. They didn't really have a lot of activity going on. But the activity is ramped up. There's traffic that comes up there. There's floodlights on the back of those houses that, you know, go into our property. And again, an 8-foot would help block that for our own privacy. If you go down from the house further, and I don't know, I know Debbie was kind enough to come over and take pictures, but I don't know if she saw downhill further from that, down toward the left as you're looking at that, no, in the other direction, Debbie, that's toward the front. You go down toward the back, toward the highway, and there was a whole bunch of trees and shrubs that had been a natural barrier about 12 or 15 foot tall between our property and what's now the church property. And unfortunately, there was a mistake made by contractors hired by the church. And as they were doing some maintenance on their property, they actually came onto our property and cut down that natural vegetation. So even though we've attempted to work out a solution to that particular mistake, the advice we're being given, and we're trying to take the high road here and not make it a big issue, is we just want to put a fence up. You know, and again, we've never had a fence, and in the 40 years I've been on this property, there's never been a fence there. But because that was taken down, and there's some other, that house is not particularly unsightly, but there's some other very unsightly buildings down where that vegetation was taken down. We kind of need, just really would like to have some barrier there for not only our own privacy, for our family on this side, but again, to kind of block some of the things that that vegetation had been blocking before.
Mr. Heck, are you talking about the fence just at that one side yard that looks over to the church?
Yes.
Yes, just on that one side.
Okay, and is the church, oh, could you, Mel, could
There
you
you
go back?
go. Where that red line is where
Okay.
we're intending to install the fence.
Okay,
You can see Kerth Road up on the side. There is no, I have trees between the end of that red line and Kerth Road, about 170 feet of trees that I've planted that are mature and provide a good blockage on that side. But that 200 foot is necessary because of all the activity from the church next door that's increased, and good for them, you know, but we need some privacy from the floodlights and the other activity, plus the vegetation that was destroyed.
We lost.
Mr. Heck, is the building with the white roof, looks like a white light roof that's below the red circled part of your property, is that the church you're talking about?
Yeah, that's the church itself.
Okay. And when we were looking at the house between the trees before, is that on this property you're talking about?
That's on the church property, yes. So it's to the, as we're looking at the church building, the big white roof, Kerth Road is to the left of that. You can barely see Kerth. So the white little house that we were looking at earlier is between the church, the big white roof, and Kerth Road. But it's right almost on our property line.
Okay, and so going back to your blueprint, you're just asking for the 8-foot, the 200
Yes.
feet there?
Yes.
Where the rest is. Okay,
Again, it's really just to give us some privacy from where they have their activity, and it's and on our side, to give us privacy from the buildings and other things that are there that had been blocked before by the natural vegetation that we had in for decades.
okay. Excuse me, I don't have any other questions.
I'd really like to make a 6-foot work because it would cost me a whole lot less money, but it just doesn't.
And
Angelia, did you start to say something? I think you were on mute.
It keeps muting me. Okay, I think I'm okay now. Okay, so I know you've done a lot of explaining, but I'm still trying to figure out what the hardship is for the need for the 8-foot fence.
Okay. I think the difference between a 6-foot fence, which obviously doesn't take a variance, right? From what I understand.
Right.
8-foot fence is that if the land was level between our house and the adjoining property, a 6-foot fence would be fine. But since our house and the patio and the pool all sit up about 15 foot higher, when you look down, the 6-foot is not really 6 foot. It's significantly less in terms of the sight line that it blocks. That make sense?
Yeah, so basically because they're lower, they can still see into your backyard.
Yeah.
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 In our pool.
Okay, okay. All right.
Thank you for the question.
Justin, do you have questions?
I guess so. Did the church not have to provide any screening when they went in? That's not probably a question for the petitioner, but just for staff.
I do have an answer to that if you want. I've been here long enough to know what's going on that property. So again, that property used to be 2 independent pieces of single family owned property, right? And then 15, 20 years ago, both of those families moved out and the property was sold to a religious organization who erected that church building, the big white roof. And when they did that, there initially was not any fence along there, but if you go back to the plot plan, okay. So down in the back, on the left side of that is kind of where the existing church building is, and their parking lot is down in the back, okay? And so the county, you all said to them that they have to put up a fence down there to block the traffic and headlights from shining onto our property. That's what I understand happened about 15 years ago. And that was fine, and we're appreciative of that. But now we have this issue up front because of the vegetation that was destroyed. And again, the more activity up near this other house in the back, that we need privacy up in this direction a little bit better.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, is there anyone on this that, oh, Angelia, did you have something else?
No, I don't have any other questions. Thank you.
Is there anyone else on this that wants to speak in favor or opposition? Please click the hand by your name.
Scott Gherkin, you are unmuted.
Okay. I'm actually the white house that's right next to the brown house that you're talking about. I'm a part of the church.
Oh, thanks,
And,
Scott.
hey, Mike. So I think that that's a great idea actually, because I look and, if I have a pool where Mike has a pool, I would want a larger privacy fence as well, because it does sit up on a hillside, and so there's a lot of open area for someone that's living there now. We do have one of our pastors that's living in there now, and me myself, if I was in Mike's position, I would want a really tall fence too, just because of what he's saying. He's up on a hill, and I have no problem with it next door.
Okay, thank you very much. Is there anyone else?
I don't see anyone else.
Okay, 24-21. I'm going to vote to approve the variance as advertised. I feel the hardship, usually we do not go 8 feet high in residential areas, but I feel since the church is there and you're making it clear that they're having a lot more activities around there, that I do feel that you sit up higher, that does warrant the need for a higher fence for your privacy, for your family's privacy.
I second it.
Justin, you're muted.
Sorry about that. I'll concur.
Okay. All right, Mr. Heck, your paperwork will be mailed to you.
Thank you very much, everybody. Thank you, Scott.
BZA 2521, Housing Authority of St. Louis County requests an exception to the regulations that govern the enlargement, extension, construction, reconstruction, or structural alteration, excuse me, of a non-conforming use, land, or structure for the purpose of reconstructing a deck and stairs to a single-family residence in the C2 shopping district at 8704 Gravois Road, as required by section 1003.170 non-conforming uses, lands, and structures of the St. Louis County Zoning Ordinance.
Mr. Barry, you are unmuted.
Hello, how are you all doing today?
Okay.
Again, I'm here representing the Housing Authority of St. Louis County, and we're trying to replace a rear deck to get a variance approval for a legal non-conforming property at 8704 Gravois. This deck is a deck-for-deck replacement. The only change would be a concrete pier. We're looking at putting in 30 inches below grade for support. And if you have any questions, I can go over the details here.
The Housing Authority owns that?
Correct.
Okay.
We were cited on an inspection that the deck needs replacing.
Mhm. Yeah.
The exact same place?
It is going in the exact same place with everything there being the exact same, other than a couple of supports in the concrete.
Okay.
Anybody have any questions?
I don't.
And I guess my one question is it because it's a non-conforming use because it's in the C2 district? Or is that the
Right, because
That
it's
is exactly.
because it's a residence in the C2 commercial district.
okay, okay, very good. Thank you.
Okay. Is there anyone on this that is in favor or opposition? Please click the hand next to your name.
I don't see any.
Okay, hearing none, 25-21, I vote to approve the variance as advertised, and the hardship just being the need to upgrade the deck.
I'll second.
I'll concur.
Okay. I believe it's Mr. Barry, the paperwork will be mailed to you.
Thank you. You all have a great day.
Okay.
2621, Timothy and Jane Kolb requests an exception to the side and rear yard regulations and the lot coverage requirements for the purpose of maintaining an existing swimming pool and constructing a new detached garage and carport at 5022 Crosswood Drive, maintaining a side yard of 0 feet in lieu of 8 feet, a rear yard of 5 feet in lieu of 15 feet, and a lot coverage of 9.1% in lieu of 7% as required by the R3 Residence District regulations of the St. Louis County Zoning Ordinance.
Tim, you can go ahead.
Hello, everyone. Thanks for listening to me today. And I want to really quick lead with, I am a firefighter. I'm actually on duty right now, so I'm really hoping I can get through this without getting a call. So far, so good. So what I'm trying to do is we bought this house back in 2010 with the intention of building a garage back then, back in the position where it is right now. And I have finally gotten around to doing it. And I found out that I needed to apply for easement releases because there was an easement back there that I knew about, but I just didn't know what I had to do. So I was learning about all that. I got the easement releases through all of the utilities, which I don't know if anybody's talked to you about that, was quite a feat. Like it was something trying to get all of those done.
It's not a Zoom meeting, it's a Webex.
Oh,
Okay.
Debbie,
all
I'm gonna
right.
mute you.
What? For a minute, I thought I was doing something wrong there.
Go ahead, Tim.
So I finally got all of those taken care of. I had then I believe it was through Ms. Nesbitt that she had told me, she's like, yeah, after that, you get that done, you'll be able to apply for a variance through the county. So I've been like, she's been incredibly helpful. I've been going back and forth with her for emails and stuff and trying to get this figured out and what I need to do and apply for and how to do it and this and that. So that's where I am here today. So the variance I'm looking for is basically every utility gave me the entire easement, which is the full 10 feet. The only utility that didn't was Ameren. They only gave me 5 foot because of the electrical pole back there. So I instead and now taking into account the 15 feet of setbacks that I have, I am applying for instead in the rear yard, that is, I'm sorry, instead of having 15 feet of rear setbacks, I'm applying to only have 5 so that I would be able to build there. And the side yard, which I did not know about because I was planning on putting an awning, like a carport on the side of the garage as well, and I didn't know that needed a variance also. So that was a late push into the game for a side yard variance and she said the garage would either need to be moved or the side yard would need to be the side yard variance would need to be or the setback would need to be changed from 8 to 0. So that is what I'm applying for that. I believe I've hit everything. There is a pop-up, like a temporary pool back there also that she had told me that actually counts as part of your structures back there. So that was something new to me also. I'm learning as I go here, but and I'm assuming that's the part where I would be applying for the lot coverage variance as well. So I believe I hit everything there. By all means, if I can answer any questions, let me know.
Mr. Cole, does your house have an existing garage?
It is a tuck under 2-car garage. So yeah, we have one. It just won't fit my truck, unfortunately. So tier for me, I've been parking outside for 10 years, but.
Sure.
Where is Mr. Colby, is it where we're looking right now where it's got the some kind of trailer and the white shed? Is that where you were proposing it?
Yes, ma'am. So basically, if you take that line of the concrete expansion joint all the way down, that's basically where the right side of the garage would end, and it would go over to where the fence line is, basically to where that shed ends also. And then the carport would be on the right side of that expansion joint.
I'm confused. Could you repeat that, looking at the white shed and the little trailer there?
Yeah, sure. So basically the spot where the trailer is and where the shed is where the garage would go. To the right of that trailer is basically approximately where the carport would be. It would be a carport off of the side of the garage.
And I'm assuming the concrete is at the property line. Is that correct?
It is not. So it is actually already. So I bought this house this way, but this driveway was already there whenever we bought the house in 2010, and I found out that concrete driveway is already on 5 foot of the 10-foot easement. So basically all I'm doing is asking to put a garage where the concrete is right now. I'm going to be ripping the garage or the concrete out to put a pad down for that garage, but it would be the same footprint, if approved, of course.
So how is from this site plan, and maybe I'm missing something, from this site plan, is the side yard really going to be 0 feet?
So this site plan shows just the garage on it. I had sent in another one that had that basically that another spot where that would be like a 10-foot or carport also. So this one doesn't necessarily show that carport, but I guess it would for the actual permit. There you go. That picture might help a little bit.
Yep, thank you.
Yes, sir.
Okay, Angela, do you have any other questions?
No, I don't.
Is there anyone on this that is in favor or opposition? Put the hand next to your name if you wish to speak.
I don't see anyone. Debbie, were you going to say something?
Well, I was going to say the concrete can go to the property line, so that doesn't really matter that it's 5 feet away. But so, Tim, this plan that's on the screen now is showing the carport at the edge of the concrete.
Yes,
right?
ma'am.
So is that concrete at 0 feet from the property line back there?
The rear, the concrete driveway is 5 foot from the property line, and the side yard, for as far as I can tell, that side of the concrete is on the property line.
Okay.
Does that make sense? I want to make sure I'm making that clear. I don't want to be confusing anyone.
Okay, so essentially the core overhang would go to the edge of the concrete, which would be the side property line. That's why it's like in feet.
Yes, correct. That's correct. And then the back would be sitting on the current footprint of the driveway, which is 5 foot off of the property line.
Deb, I have another question. If the carport would not would he still need the lot coverage variance?
No, he would, if the carport was removed, he would not need the lot coverage.
Oh,
Wait.
Justin, do you want to go ahead, or did you have questions?
No, to speak for or against, correct?
I didn't see anyone.
I'm gonna make a recommendation to vote in favor of the rear yard setback to 5 feet, denying the request for 0 feet on the side yard, and denying the request on, well, and then denying the lot coverage request. So essentially approving the garage itself, but not the carport.
I second that.
I concur.
I don't guess there's anything I can do about that, is there?
Not as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, I mean, I think beginning of the meeting, you could take it to the circuit clerk or circuit courts. Sorry.
What just out of curiosity, is it because of the way it looks, or is it, is this just something that's uncommon to request?
In my opinion, and why I voted the way I voted is I don't think it's fair to have buildings at 0 lot lines to your neighbor. And so I think if you can meet that side yard, the rear yard reducing, it still has space there. And so that was why I made the recommendation.
And that's why I said,
Sense.
yeah.
That makes sense. I understand that, but and that's why I didn't, with it being it's not really a building. It's, just kind of it's a, I wouldn't say standalone, but 3 posts.
Okay, well, Mr. Kolb, your paperwork will be mailed to you.
Okay, thank you.
BZA 2721, Janice Hazeltine requests an exception to the side yard regulations for the purpose of replacing a deck and stairs at 11284 Bristolwood Drive, maintaining a side yard of 3 feet in lieu of 8 feet as required by the R3 Residence District regulations of the St. Louis County Zoning Ordinance.
Okay, Janice, you are unmuted. Janice? I don't know. I'm not sure if her microphone is connected.
Can you see her though?
I don't see her.
Maybe she's not on at all.
She's on. I'm not sure her audio is set up correctly. Janice, you might need to click there should be a little arrow next to the microphone icon that you might need to click to set up your microphone. But I'm not sure what the alternative would be here.
Well, maybe we should move on to the next one and then she can hopefully get it to work.
Oh, she said, okay, she said
Oh,
the
I
Eric
just
from Chesterfield Deck is supposed to represent her. We do have a call-in user, Debbie. Do you know who might have joined late? Were you talking to someone?
But it's not Janice.
Okay. She says she doesn't have a microphone.
Was it Eric who
Yeah.
was the call-in user?
Let's see. Let me see. Okay, if you've called in for audio on your phone, you're unmuted now. Can you identify yourself?
Sure. My name is John Tilden. Can you hear me?
Yes. Are you here
okay.
to?
I was not.
Are you here to?
successful. Yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. Are you here to present a request or to observe?
Well, there's one that is going to be talked about if it hasn't already. I apologize, I'm late, and that has to do with the property on 9527 Hale.
Okay,
Right.
that's the last one. Well,
Yeah, I'm the property behind it, so I just wanted to. That's my concern there. So anyway, I'll be quiet now.
all right, we'll bring you back when we get to that petition.
Thank you. So I guess Mr. Donenheim is
I don't
not
see
on.
him on.
And Janice Hazelton doesn't have a speaker on her computer, correct?
Right. Janice, do you want to type into the chat briefly what your hardship is?
Oh, yeah. Oh, there's a picture. Yeah, I know.
Yeah, it is existing and she's going to be just replacing it in the same position as this one.
It's in this repair.
Yes.
All right. Well, I think I'm okay with voting on that. I don't know if Justin and
Well, just one question. Was it permitted originally?
That I don't know.
Can she type her answer in?
He's not typed anything yet.
Okay. Well, let me see. So Anjali and I are okay on voting. I would,
Yeah.
and Justin, would you be okay on voting?
Yeah.
Okay, but first I want to see, I guess there's no one here for or against this. If there is, please hit the hand by your name.
I don't see anyone.
Okay. 27-21, I'm gonna vote to approve the variances, advertise the hardship being, the deck is in disrepair and in need, for replacement. And it's just replacing exactly where it was before, which we're not sure if it got, it might have been put there before zoning even. So I'm gonna vote yes.
Okay, I second it.
I'll concur.
Okay.
BZA 2821, George Ulig requests an exception to the rear yard regulations for the purpose of constructing a room addition at 11042 Fawn Haven Drive, maintaining a rear yard of 11 feet in lieu of 15 feet as required by the R4 Residence District regulations of the St. Louis County Zoning Ordinance.
Okay, Ryan, you are unmuted to give your presentation.
Hello, my name is Ryan Haynes, and I work for the design architecture company Ash Design. And we were hired by Georgie Ulig to do an addition on the back of her home at her residence at 11042 Fawn Haven Drive. Miss Ulig lives alone. She's 73. She insists to us that she would like to live her life out in her home. She's got some medical conditions, the left side of her body, and she has some hip pain, sciatica, some right knee pain. She's had surgery on her right kneecap, and right now her laundry is all on her sub-level in her basement. The doctors asked her not to do steps with carrying anything, if at all possible, so she came to us to try and do a laundry room and a sunroom addition on the back of her home. So currently she has an overhang, just an overhang along the back, and we plan on pretty much using similar footprint to that to capture laundry on the main level and give her a sunroom as well. First purpose would be to get her a laundry room. Second purpose would be the sunroom, where she wouldn't have to go down 3 or 4 steps to enjoy the outdoors. She could open the windows and still stay on one level and enjoy the space out there. So we complemented the home with the same vinyl siding. We just plan on turning a gable roof, and if we do stay with the 15-foot requirement by St. Louis County, it's just going to really minimize the circulation in the addition, and it'd be hard to justify what we would do by just kind of giving a smaller laundry room off the back. So the neighbor next door 20 years ago did an extended garage and was able to capture 9 feet off the fence. It's kind of standing behind where I guess that photograph was taken. This is her existing overhang that we would be demolishing and adding the new addition along the back with windows for her. So my ask today is to encroach and to be 11 feet off the back fence instead of the 15 required by St. Louis County, so that Miss Ulig can enjoy this space and capture all the needs that she would like to do in this home while she's there.
I don't have any questions, Dan.
Okay. I guess I don't either.
Is it? Can you go back to? Was there kind of like an overhead plot plan of where that addition was going to go?
I think it was one of the first slides. Yep, right there.
Yeah. Would there not be a way to come off the side that kind of is, I'm assuming that's the garage, and make up that 4 feet?
Yeah, we actually exhausted that option as well. There's a gas and electric meter in that corner. She's got a storage shed over there, which we could relocate. However, it's the way that her dining room's designed. It would be a little bit more of a challenge. It's doable. It would have to, take some replanning. But again, she would like to come off that kitchen area where we're kind of designed it now. If you want to click to the next slide.
Yeah.
So we come off the dining room, and it would just be everything to the plan west of the dining room as the alternate. But right now, that's kind of where her living space, then dining room is, and she can get a nice view with all the windows that we're going to be supplying her from her sitting space in her front room, kind of out that direction, as well as what we would love to capture still. So.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Is there anyone here that is in favor or opposition to this? Please hit the hand next to your name.
I don't see anyone.
Okay, hearing none, 28-21, I vote to approve the variance as advertised, and the hardship being the need to make the home more accessible for the resident.
I'll second.
I'm gonna say no.
Okay. So we, it has passed, and we will send you the paperwork in the mail.
Thank you all for your time.
Okay, thank you.
Very good.
29-21, Chelsea and Dionisino Campos request an exception to the side and rear yard regulations for the purpose of constructing a 6-foot 6-inch privacy fence at 10209 Dandridge Drive, maintaining both side yards of 0 feet in lieu of 6 feet and a rear yard of 0 feet in lieu of 15 feet, as required by the R4 district regulations of the St. Louis County Zoning Ordinance.
Okay, Chelsea, you can proceed.
Thank you. Hi, everyone. I wanted to request this because we're hoping to put up a privacy fence in our backyard. We have no fence right now. Our neighbors on either side, on the sides of us, have dogs. And the one neighbor, the dog jumped the fence last year and bit me. And so they put up a 6-foot fence, just a wooden fence. But they were short on funds, and they just put up, just a portion along, like they put up like half of their yard, a taller fence. And then they, yeah, you can see the picture there, and it's, well, that's not a very good picture to tell the state of it because it's wet, but when it's dry, you can see that it's only been up for not even a year yet, and some of the boards are already starting to warp, and they didn't seal it or anything like that helps to make the fence last longer and that kind of thing. The dog is really aggressive, and my husband's a disabled veteran and had a lot of trauma around when that happened. I mean, he has a lot of trauma in general, and then when that happened, that was a very triggering event. And so he wants to put up a fence around the whole yard, just in case the dog, gets loose on the other side of the yard, because whenever anybody walks by, the dog's in attack mode with, just people walking down the street and that kind of thing. And, or if he gets out the front door and whatever. And then our other neighbor on the other side, you can see their yard right there. They just have the smaller chain link again, and they have a little pit bull mix. And so it's just, he wants to put up a fence around our whole yard so he's comfortable going out there, because he's not comfortable going out there right now. So the thing is, for the height of it, he wants a 6-foot panel, But with the 6-foot panel, it has to be like 3 inches taller for the posts. And I've talked with and we're going with this company specifically because they can get the vinyl fence down all the way to the ground, like to prevent dogs from going underneath. And so unfortunately, there's nothing else they can do. They said they could possibly trim the post down like an inch or two, but at any rate, the posts themselves, the panels would be 6 feet, but the posts themselves would be a couple inches higher. So we just wanted to, get it approved for those posts to be a little bit above the 6-foot height.
Okay. I have a question. When the dog jumped the fence, did he jump the 6-foot fence?
No, thank God. They had a fence just like that other one that you can see in the picture before, and then now they got the bigger one, to help. But my husband's concerned because some of the boards are already warping and that sort of thing, and so he wants to put another fence on their side too. So that's why we want to do it all the way around.
Okay.
So the fence is going to be 6 feet, just the post would be a little above.
Exactly. Yeah. And they're just the flat cap, so it's not even like some large decorative, post cap that goes really high. It's just that the posts themselves, they said in order for the pieces to be connected properly, they just can't bring them down to the same height as the panels.
Okay. Justin, do you have any questions, Justin?
No, thanks.
Okay. If there's anyone on for or against 29-21, would you please hit the hand next to your name?
I don't see anyone.
Okay.
I'll motion for 29-21 to recommend based on the fact the fence itself is actually 6 foot height.
You kind of cut out, Justin. Did you say you approve it or didn't?
Yeah, approve it.
Okay.
Sorry.
Okay. I'll second that.
I concur.
Thank you all so much.
Okay.
Petition 3021, Taylor Hoke requests an exception to the side and rear yard regulations for the purpose of constructing a retaining wall at 9527 Hale Drive, maintaining both side yards of 3 feet in lieu of 6 feet and a rear yard of 5 feet in lieu of 15 feet, as required by the R4 Residence District regulations of the St. Louis County Zoning Ordinance.
Okay, Tyler, you are unmuted to give your presentation.
Hi, yes. So yeah, I'm just kind of wanting to get this. Sorry, I'm not really prepared for this. So yeah, we're just looking to expand the retaining wall more, so that way it's more wide and further back, so that way give me more flat yard, so that way the hill is less more, I guess, more bearable to maintain.
So we're, oh, okay, there. Okay. Yeah. Well, wait, what, I see the bricks and then the bricks and then what's that?
Yeah, so all that's gonna come down. I contracted another contractor whenever I first bought this house, and I was young and naive, and he didn't pull permits, so I'm trying to do it right this time.
Well, so the retaining wall you're asking for would be
an 8-foot wall.
Pardon me?
An 8-foot wall.
But where are you asking it for it to go back where that?
Yeah, essentially, yeah, back where that second wall would be.
Oh, the second wall?
Yeah.
And then is the plan to like cut that down?
Sorry, what do you mean by cut that down?
Like cut the hill down so that it's flat ground?
No, so there'll still be a little bit of a hill there where I plan on like putting like bushes and shrubbery and stuff and not grass, but yeah, it'll almost eliminate a lot of it, and it'll be flat. Yeah, we'll cut the ground so that way it's flat.
Gotcha. Okay. So how do you know how tall this retaining wall will be?
Huh?
How tall the retaining wall will be?
About 8 feet.
Okay.
And there'll be a security fence on the top. Sorry, I have my engineer on a speakerphone with me.
Yes, I'm not understanding the hardship. You have a fenced-in yard. Okay. What would you be taking away?
I think
dirt.
Sorry.
I'd be taking away dirt.
Which one of those walls? I mean, I see
that first wall, on the lower end, will just be added to the second one essentially. Like, so that first wall will be pushed back, so that way it'll be just one wall. It will just be one wall instead of two.
So you're going to give yourself more flat space in your yard.
Yes.
Instead of the tiered effect, you're looking to push that back and okay.
So basically, the front one would be going on top of the second one.
Yeah.
Okay. Does anybody else have any questions?
No.
Yeah. All right. Is there anyone on this Webex that is in favor or opposition? Please.
I think, was it John who had called in? Sir?
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm the neighbor directly behind, and so my only concern is whether or not I would lose part of my backyard if the retaining wall is too close. And whether or not 5 feet is too close or not, I don't know. That's just my only concern. And so I thought I'd call and find out if someone, knows anything about that, basically, if that makes sense. I'm only concerned about whether or not I would lose part of my backyard from erosion, basically, it falling down.
And where is your backyard? Right at the fence line, that brown fence there?
Yeah, it's on the other side. So like the back end of my backyard goes to the back end of that backyard. Yeah.
Well,
Sorry, can I address that? I think my engineer is wanting to speak on that.
Not be encroaching on him or the neighbor or his fence.
Did you guys hear that? I don't know if you guys can hear that.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Thank you.
he said you would not be.
Sorry. Go ahead.
Did you say, Mr. How? Did he say he would not be encroaching any?
Correct. Yeah. He said we wouldn't encroach on him, and the retaining wall will be done right this time, and so it won't erode. And I think he's put it through simulations, so that to deal with like the water load, and there'll be drainage.
Yeah. I'm assuming St. Louis County, when they permit this, they'll require engineered drawings. Is that correct?
Yes. After if this gets approved, it would go on to the next step, which would be approved by engineers, and they run it through a few things.
Okay. All right. Well, Angela and Justin, you have any other questions, or are we ready to vote?
No, I don't have any questions.
Okay.
I'm good. Thank you.
30-21. I'm going to vote to approve the variance as advertised. The hardship being pushing that back will give Mr. Hawk better use of his backyard, and will not be encroaching on the neighbors whatsoever.
I second it.
I'll concur.
Okay, your paperwork will be sent to you, Mr. Is it Hawk or Hook?
Hawk. Thank you very much.
Okay. All righty. I guess our meeting is adjourned.
All right.
I'll second that.